Hi, friends. My name's host Eric, and I'm questing for distillation. Starting to come together, I guess. So many thoughts, so many matters of concern at the moment, so many things to deal with. Different, different vectors, different weights. Trying to figure out what to prioritize, where, when, which ideas to think through, and which ones are just wasting time. Trying to be purposeful in my time, in general, is a concern for me right now. And it would seem to me that just about everything in the universe is conspiring to convince me of that. The need for distillation. Interesting conversation with my clients tonight about their kid. And it shows you the power of ideas, the power of one person talking. So they're seriously considering just pulling him out of school, homeschooling him, because of the shit I've been saying to him. They're talking about the problem is he's got 90 whatever's on his math test, but he didn't turn any of the homework, and that's like 43% of the grade. I pointed out the obvious thing, which is, well, what's the purpose of the class? Is it to have them jump through hoops or to learn the material? If there's a protocol that says you should jump through these hoops to learn the material, then fine. But if the purpose is to learn the material and you successfully do so, then it doesn't really matter if you jump through those hoops, does it? Yeah, but he didn't turn in the homework. Okay. So what? Maybe he didn't need to do the homework. It's like if he needed to do the homework, fine. If he didn't need to do the homework, why would he do it? To learn the material. If he didn't need to do it to learn the material, it's everything about school is attempting to remove from students any agency, any decision making about their own education, and knowing what it is they need to do and what they don't need to do based on what they already understand themselves. Obviously, kids they need some guidance. They're not like full agents yet or anything. But when we're talking about educating somebody, it's like you're going to have to respect that person's autonomy regarding, like, if they tell you or if they demonstrate that they don't need to do the homework, then you shouldn't expect them to do it because your only justification for asking it of them in the first place is so that they can learn the material. All right, regardless of that, it's not really a central point here tonight. I'm feeling like there's a lot of slab clatter going on right now. The slabs are busy, they're crashing into each other, they're scraping against other slabs. We've got multiple slabs up in the mix here, and they're not necessarily compatible with each other. Storylines are falling out here. But the thing is, I ultimately need to settle into some singular course. This might be it. It might be live streaming. It's possible that live streaming is a singular course that I could potentially devote myself to, but it seems a little purposeless. Like it's not clear how I get from A to B, so to speak, except by just continuing to do the same thing, talking about stuff, whatever. I've had some really good live streams lately, frankly. Varying quality, but across the board in general in life, things, everybody's hit and miss. We went quite some distance away to get to an open weed store. There's this weed store down in off National Boulevard near Venice Boulevard that opens at 6 p.m. and closes at 3 a.m. 6 to 3 are their hours. Why? Well, it fills a niche. Most weed stores close at 10 or 11 or 12 or whatever. This place is open late. And apparently, like, there was a line in there when I got there at 11, whatever. It's like one of the only weed stores that you can find if you go, like, weed stores open now in all of LA. You can't find a whole lot of them. The first place I went to was shut down, apparently. It used to be open 24 hours, but this place is interesting because it doesn't stay open late. It's open from 6 p.m. to 3 a.m. Not open during the day at all. So I think that probably makes it easier for that business to not have problems in the neighborhood, because it's a very trafficky neighborhood, and a neighborhood that it's hard to find parking. They've got a little parking lot, and I'm sure that if they try to do it during the day, it would be a hassle around there. But they're smart. Anyway, I got back from there, and of course I've been thinking in the car as I was driving around, and whenever I'm thinking, I'm gathering up thoughts. And whenever I'm gathering up thoughts, when I come home, I feel like I need to voice them. Primarily what I'm thinking is this distillation point, that I need to, in some sense, I need to stop bouncing around so much. I need to find a specific course that forms the main frame of what I'm doing, devote myself to it, pursue it full blast, to the exclusion of other things that I might want to do, but are not in keeping with the plan or keeping with the outcome that I've desired or something. I need to be a little more TE. So I'm in limbo, of course. And this is probably the source of my kind of feeling of slab rattled, I guess you might say. Slab rattles is a good term. Hi, Zandy. I'm in limbo in the sense that when my mom was here, I had a specific purpose. And of course, taking care of my mom meant having a lot of time committed towards that. And I really couldn't increase the amount of work I was doing beyond that. Every time I was gone for a day or something, it was my dad needed to get help to accommodate while I was gone. So now mom's in the nursing home. Among other things, but I mean, my life direction here, as I'm trying to explain right now, it's like I'm in this limbo spot. How can I tell the difference between INFP and INFJ? It's pretty easy, frankly. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You just ask them a few questions. Ask them what they would do in hypotheticals, and INFPs will have a hard time telling you the answer. INFJs will be straightforward about it. If either of them know anything about cognitive functions, you were to ask them, describe NI for me, or define NI. INFJ, Rachel said, when I asked her that question, internal knowing. INFP is going to be like, well, it's really hard to say. It really depends what you. Blah, 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 blah. It's just like that. Hi, Maddie Sanchez. Um, Let me pull this bowl before continuing on with my distillations thesis here. What is what? My distillations thesis? My distillations thesis is essentially that that what I need to apply more about in my life in order to attain, I guess, the sense of purposed serenity that comes with knowing you're doing the right thing right now is it's waiting. It's right now I have to wait because I'm waiting for Rachel to return to live with me again, which will be great. And then we'll have sort of a long-term moment to think about things. My dad's waiting for all this long-term care insurance to come through for my mom, reimburse him for some expenses he's put out, and generally cover some costs there. And then I'm gonna have to, once he's settled with that, and okay, yes, mom's taken care of, mom's settled for whatever length of time. Okay, I'll return to the distillation notion in a little bit. Who is this Irina? I don't know, some person who's here. Is there a connection to astrology and the Briggs system? Well, I'm not particularly an expert on Myers-Briggs per se. I would say if you're talking about cognitive functions, is there a connection between astrology and cognitive functions? I would say not unless you choose to make one. You could make a link if you wanted to, if you were an astrology person and you wanted to say, well, this astrological sign links to these cognitive functions. I mean, you could make those connections, but is there implicitly one? No. Is astrology underlying the idea of cognitive functions inherently? No. So back to the distillation. Like I've got one thing that Cloud is training me to do in general is to think about how I want to use my time. In some sense, he's also making me think about how can I express things in ways that are simpler and convincing. How can I distill down complicated concepts better so that anybody can understand them? And, the first thing I note when people don't understand cognitive functions is that they don't understand how to justify things. They don't understand argumentation. They don't understand substantiation and stuff. So it's like when you're talking about cognitive functions, we're talking about a process. It's a way of paying attention across time. If you're talking about an object, it could be a couple of different things. It could be like an extroverted intuition object is these words I just said comprise an object on the metaphysical external field that anybody can pick up and look at and listen to and whatever. But it would also be the case that extroverted intuition might reference an introverted sensing object. So a memory, use it as an example or something. It's also potential that extroverted intuition might act upon another metaphysical object on the external field, namely someone else's words, as I often do here. So we need to distinguish then between processes and objects, and to understand that no matter what modality of time one is dealing in, it's always happening in the moment. So, for example, I'm using a turn-based time modality here. I'm using language and symbolics that they are definitional and ordinal, that it matters what order they come in. So that's a turn-based modality, but it doesn't mean that I'm not doing it in real time. Everything that happens, every form of attention that happens in this moment now, in the present. There's nothing that occurs in the past or the future. Those are our reference points that we have. We have, like you can imagine that somebody gets a toe chopped off when they're 10 years old, and they carry that toelessness with them for the rest of their life. So in that sense, we can know that the past is different than the future in some basic way like that. And additionally, well, man, what's my train of thought? I'm feeling pretty, I guess, kind of low energy right now, or fatalistic, or reflective. It's just, I sort of understanding the futility of arguing with people who aren't engaged in dialectic, and trying to figure out how to communicate with them anyway. So it's kind of like an intuitive's burden. It's difficult for intuitives to make themselves really understood by sensors in general. Hi, Anchor Jason Blood. Nice to see you. How's Japan treating you? Don't forget to bow. You got to bow while you're in Japan. It's important. I kind of want to go to Japan someday. It's very expensive, though. Well, I mean, that's not really true. Because if we're talking about understanding, we're talking about the words, right? We're talking about understanding words. We don't really understand except via words. So it might be the case that we don't understand something wordless about the sensors, but it's not the case that we don't understand their words. Whereas it is the case that they don't understand ours necessarily. So that can be frustrating. Of course, they've got to want to as well. There's that aspect of things. If you're not seeking the truth via any modality that the truth operates in, because look, truth might operate in NI, truth might operate in TI, truth might even operate in some sense in TE, but there's no way truth is ever going to operate in FI. It's contrary to truth. It's totally subjective. Working on a proposal for a customer. Okay, Anchor Jason Blood, I'm going to give you a couple of suggestions here. Dear customer and or client, will you marry me? Signed, Anchor Jason Blood. What do you think? And don't forget to slurp your soup, too. You can squirt a little perfume on that letter. It would probably help. Yeah, sensors have a hard time understanding us because, like what Cloud says there, I think the SN dichotomy matters little. I think that seeking the truth is what matters. So what I said prior about truth is, of course, significant. I pointed out that when you're talking about what is true, you're talking about something that's subjective, more or less, because it's situationally true. But if you're talking about an agreed upon truth, then it's objectively so. Yeah, I know, Anchor Jason Blood. I was joking. That's where the funny is, you see. Obviously, you weren't working on proposing to a client. It wouldn't require any work. You just go and say, oh. Okay. So, the S in dichotomy is a it's like, okay, I don't really want to dissemble because, I mean, I don't want to deal with dissembling. It's just, it's like, it's not worth the attention. So, I'm just, by and large, done, for the moment anyway, with just winning the arguments. It's like, the only argument I want to basically make to those who come in with persistent adversarial discourse is, we're never going to get anywhere until both of us want to be right. Did you hear what I said, Cloud? We're never going to get anywhere until both of us want, at least, to be right. And so when you say something like, you're seeking, it's important to seeking the truth, you're right. But the thing that you are calling truth just is entirely subjective. And yet you're trying to couch it in objective language. So it's like, I don't really know what to do with that. It's sad. Because it undermines people's ability to communicate fundamentally. No, you don't. It does make me sad because it demonstrates how challenging it can be to be any given type. Every type is the expert at a given thing, right? So, Cloud's type is the expert at being like Trump, kind of like, I'm starting to be pretty convinced Trump's an ESFP. But, kicking the anthill. You see him doing it here. He's pretty damn good at it. One way he's kicking the anthill on the metaphysical plane is to say basically a bunch of stuff that is counterfactual, obviously wrong, whatever, and insists that it be taken seriously despite a total lack of arguments or validation or evidence or anything like that. And of course, the other thing is he's doing what I would call preschool TI, which is, okay, he takes one thing he knows about SI. SI is about the past. And then he looks for me referencing things from the past. And you go, see, there you go, SI. It's about the past. But he's got no concept of what it would mean to actually spend some time thinking about whether something's justified or not. So if you were justified in saying, well, what is Eric doing right now? Is he SIing? Well, no, I'm not SIing. That doesn't even make any sense. Knowing from the past is very different than extrovertedly intuiting, which pulls from the past. So, as I said before, Cloud, about TI is useless for you. You're right. Unfortunately, you're in an environment in which you're just going to fail without it. You're going to fail over and over and over and over again. And not really anything I can do about it, you know. I certainly don't want to silence you or anything, but I'm sure you'll understand if I just don't bother wasting my time, because we're not talking about the same sort of thing. I'm talking about something that's fairly, it requires a certain amount of abstract deafness. You know, does anyone know where I can go to learn about INFP on YouTube? Which YouTuber is an INFP? I'm not sure which YouTuber is an INFP, but I've got a great video on INFPs called INFPs Nurtures Fragile Ward, which INFPs tend to like that video a lot. Might want to watch that one. So the thing is, there's a clearly correct laying out of how the whole thing should work by me, except it's not clearly laid out yet, which is frustrating. It boils down to three angles of observation. You got your agent, you got your subject and your object, and four planes: internal, metaphysical, external, metaphysical, internal, physical, external, physical, and then four kinds of information flow: putting information, getting information, receiving information, and interfacing between fields. And when you combine all those various things, you can determine all the mechanics that there is to know about cognitive functions. Add in the prime directive, and that's the whole bada bing, bada boom thing. You get I guess you got to add in your two kinds of time as well, but those are sort of implicit to the top and bottom fields. It's like this thing is the only correct way to understand things. It's the only correct way because it's the only thing that accounts for facts and evidence that must be accounted for. It's a difficult case. It's a difficult explanation to make. It's a difficult case to make for somebody who's not using TI. It's a very TI heavy case. I'd like to make a more NI heavy case. In other words, I need to distill things down to an NI whole that people can grasp without having to do a whole shit ton of TI. That Cloud's fourth slot NI, which means he's very susceptible to false truths. But it also means that if I can make this thing resonate as a truth that doesn't require TI parsing, that potentially he too can understand what I'm saying. I've not been able to distill things down like that before. It's a little too complicated. Let me pull this bowl. I need to tell with Ali Malik, are you the one who emailed me? The kid, 14-year-old kid who emailed me? I'm meaning to email you back. I haven't gotten around to it. I'm in yeah. I don't know. I'll get to that. All right, so judging functions are your interface functions and your judging functions. Your judging functions are TI and FI, and your interface functions are TE and FE. Tough question to answer. You can't really make a distinction on that broad of a level. You have to be more directly about specific functions, I guess. So regarding the distillation thing, again, that's what my task is right now, to narrow my focus on a number of different vectors to make sure that my time is spent wisely. I'm not sure 100% that it's a great use of my time to be live streaming all the time, but I do know that I have to talk things out in order to know what my course of action is going to be. So it's like I'm always awake. Ali Malik, I'm Pakistani and living in Houston. Cool. I'm not always awake. I just am live streaming a lot when I am awake. And especially when I'm thinking through shit, you know? Just Irina, just a general rule of caution. If Cloud says they're INFP, they may or may not be, you know, he doesn't really know. And whether or not that person actually has good videos on INFPs, well, that would be contingent on that person and Cloud being right about the meaning of INFP. So, you know, take it with multiple grains of salt. I'm a freshman and I dislike it, but I try to be on top of things as much as possible. You dislike school? Well, you dislike school? Well, you've already been informed clearly by me and probably multiple other people that school is a stupid waste of time. You know that now. It's like an NI virus in you. It's going to be difficult to commit to jumping through those hoops just for the sake of it. That's a good thing. Sayo, I'm either INTP or INTP. Well, makes sense. You're here. You know, of course, we get a variety of different types in here. It's just that, by and large, NTPs don't have a lot of opportunity to talk to other NTPs, and when they do, they're both fairly realized people, not too much threatened or feeling irritated by somebody else stepping on the toes of their niche or whatever. Then you know. Right on, offset. Yeah. It's gonna be kind of sad, I guess. I like having Cloud around, but I'm more or less just gonna have to stop engaging him because it's like he's just trolling. He's not even trolling. He doesn't even know he's trolling. That's the ridiculous thing. And of course, you know, as soon as I stop talking about him or answering him or shit like that, then he's gonna get bored pretty quick and leave. So that's sad, but it's okay. He got the whole damn fire station in his hands. The whole damn fire station. What up, Matthew? I am one of the bitches you refer to me as a little bitch, and I am doing fine. Well, Matthew, this little bitch is doing fine. Thank you for asking. What up? What up? Indeed. I mean, Cloud's whatever he is. He might be Queen's weakness. I mean, The thing is, he's fun. If he's Queen's weakness in disguise, he's fun. He's fun in this capacity. But, I mean, it's like, it would be hilarious in some sense because Queen's weakness would think he had shown me something. Like, hey, look, I came in here and fooled you to who I was this whole time. Of course, obviously, that would mean he's, once again, obsessed with me and my YouTube channel. That's not that impressive trick on me. To spend all my time here. To spend all your time here, hanging out, talking to me and stuff. That's your big trick. Devote all your hours of your life to me or something. That's not a big trick. That's just, oh ho ho, yeah, you can do that, all right. It could be. That's not a bad guess, Archangel. I don't think Queen's weakness has really done anything recently. I didn't watch it. Who's Queen's weakness? He's this person who's in love with me. Who's in hate love with me? You know, it's like I inspire this in people. People who hate me, right? Pay shit tons of attention to me. It's weird. Cloud's not Queen's weakness. Cool. Is that what he says? That trauma caused me to be whatever? What trauma did he propose? Was responsible for things. See, that's the kind of shit I'm. It's the reason I don't watch that shit. I'm not about to respond to him. You know, I'm not going to give him any space in my in my head to the extent that I. Well, so what trauma did I purportedly endure? Yeah. What are women? They're those soft things with boobs. Men with vaginas. I believe that language can restrict typing. I mean, I think language is the most revelatory thing about a person's type. Like, you can tell a lot about how a person uses language. The challenge is sometimes to get people to talk, to reveal how they talk. If you're looking at just for extrovert and introversion, it's not a good way to go. You got to be looking for a specific function. You know, trying to determine the slot of a specific function. Yeah, so I'm curious as to what trauma he thought I endured. Well, the colloquial use of the word extroversion links somewhat loosely to extroversion and functions. So, for example, extroverted intuition is likely to seem quite extroverted. Extroverted thinking, not necessarily. Extroverted feeling, probably. Extroverted sensing, Probably, but not necessarily. Because a lot of extroversion is thought about as expressing talkativeness. You seem very gentle. To whom? Somebody whose gentleness meter is installed backwards? No offense, Countess, but you are not gentle. Nobody has ever. Okay, I guess maybe for people who just met you. Surprise! Did you think I was gentle? Did you think that? You weren't gentle breaking up with him, that's for sure, Archangel. You were quite brutal. You're not an ISFP. So Matthew says, I actually think you should do a video to ignore the animosity. He's not a dumb person. You should have the chat. And the fact that he thinks you're an ENTP doesn't really matter. He's good to have. I've invited him to talk with me plenty of times. I can't beat somebody else's courage. No, Archangel is Countess, Dandy. Yeah, Archangel and Countess are the same person. Yeah. I mean, he only appears smart to somebody who doesn't have any TI. Look, he's incredibly bitter. Why not tell him like it is, Matthew? He's not a smart guy at all. What's this trauma thing? So, like, what trauma? I've asked you this a couple of times now. What trauma does he propose that I've endured before in order to change whatever cognitive functions? Does he propose one? I keep asking you this question. You don't answer it. What trauma? Okay, so he linked something to a trauma he had no evidence of, and he didn't even specify what it was. He's just hypothesizing it must have existed. Because why? Because it was a necessary precondition to explain away all the obvious evidence that I'm an ENTP. That's shitty fucking intelligence. But it's very low intelligence. Not smart. To propose that he can explain my cognitive function stack with childhood trauma, even though there's no evidence of such, and any reference of my explanation of my childhood is that my childhood was idyllic. I didn't suffer any trauma. So, okay, but Matthew, yes, it does. If he's purporting to explain that I'm an example of childhood trauma changing a person's functions, I'm saying if you make that argument, Matthew, then you are not a smart person. That's it. It's not a smart argument to make. It doesn't make any sense. It's illogical. It can't be substantiated. It's not something that destroys systems rather than represents a system. In other words, it's special pleading. It's institutionalized special pleading. It's an absolute fucking nightmare. All right, he would have to know me before and after the trauma to make that claim. But I'm not undergone any trauma. I didn't undergo childhood trauma. My parents loved me very much. And he's predicating his whole thing on that, or what? Is that how he's explaining why I seem like an ENTP, but really am something else? This made-up childhood trauma that I never experienced. He had no evidence of, had available to him if he sought it at all, counter evidence available. It's the contrary of that notion that I'd experienced any childhood trauma. And, kind of like says, well, I can slander his past. I can presuppose some shit that happened, and it's freaking horrible and stupid and like gaff, not worthy of any attention or respect, worthy of abject contempt, frankly. It's stupid. It's a stupid notion. It is the case that experiencing trauma will put you to your relief functions naturally, because that's what they're there for, is relief. Everybody suffers some form of trauma. And to think that trauma can shift attentional manners is to not understand what an attentional manner is. Trauma can no more shift a person from an ENTP into an ISFJ than crashing can turn a car into a boat. It's the same reasoning. So when I say the guy's dumb, that's what I mean. He's arguing that when you crash a car, it turns into a boat. No, it just turns into a broken car. Well, he's anti-polar. I think stupid ass shit like that is a consequence. I gotta go smoke a cigarette. Okay, anecdotally speaking, I'm of the mindset that trauma pushes you to your fourth. But of course, it may be because my fourth is SI. I don't know. When I'm experiencing like a setback, wounding, loss, whatever, I say, okay, it's time to nest properly. It's time to clean my room, time to feed myself, sleep, curl up on the couch, watch TV, that kind of stuff. So I know I retreat to my SI when I feel traumatized. But I think that just naturally, because look, whenever I feel excessively indulgent in my dominant function, if I'm expressing too much across any vectors without engaging the external world enough, without engaging the world of sensing enough, and without perhaps being purposeful enough in my time on the metaphysical realm, then I feel a bit of ontological stress. In other words, my being cries out for more directionality, more purpose, more distillation. So, are inferior grips real? Well, that's what I'm talking about right now, actually, Andrew Benz. Is it real? I mean, I think to call it a thing like that, an inferior grip is probably wrong-ish. I think it's more like it's a It's a repair modality. It's like everybody's got their regular modality. When things are going fine and your ship is running normally, you run in main modality. When you crash into a rock and you have to repair the thing, blah, 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 you shift into repair modality. So for me, my natural modality is what I'm doing right now. But as I tire out of it eventually, and it's weird because it's fairly energizing while at the same time being taking energy, what ends up tiring me out is not attending to my SI enough. And what I end up seeking in the end is not just physical SI, but metaphysical SI. Socrates must have had the same exact hunger that I do, which is at the end of the day, while I really like just talking shit out and having videos as a record of all these conversations and having them as a, I guess, instructive manual for anybody who wants to learn anything from anything I have to say. At the end of the day, I understand that I need to distill. I need to write shit down, force myself to be concise, distill the whole thing down to something very convincing, very complete, and very explanatory. And, I'm hopeful actually, perhaps, that I can get Hambone and maybe Horse Mumbler to sit down with me tomorrow with like a document open and sort of brainstorm out how to explain this whole thing. You know? I think when we were young, we were absorbing things as hell more than we are at judging and making decisions. We still use our function scores, eventually become well versed and creative with it. Hey, what order do you think functions develop? Well, I think it's plausible that you come out the womb attending via a dominant function, whatever that might be, and that the tool function is a necessary complement to that. But there may be a moment or two, a little stretch of moments after birth when you're briefly just your dominant function until there comes a need for the alternative, which would be the fourth. And then so you got your dominant and your fourth kind of coming together, but the dominant is briefly the only function until you develop some need to do something else, perhaps hunger or some other SI concern comes into play. Like if you're any dom comes out somehow ideating without any symbols, just whatever the proto any is, and then maybe it gets hungry, and so all of a sudden their fourth comes into play. But it was there all along, sort of. And then it's plausible that one could exist with just the 1-4 for some stretch of time, and over that stretch of time, that circumstances determine whether or not that tool function is TI or FI, for example. There's always two choices for a tool function to get once the dominance in place, and that defines the rest of the stack. So you could imagine a baby born with 1 or 1-4, however you want to think about it, and then nurture determining whether their 2 turns into A or B. But that's just speculative. I have no idea. I don't know how type is determined, whether it's in the womb, whether it's after birth, whether it's genetic, whether it's maybe the stork picks on the way from the baby factory to your parents' house. For those of you guys who don't know, Matthew, Alistair. Matthew. Do I look like I'm happy with your wrongness? Do I? Do I? No. I look very, very angry at you. I'm extremely angry at you right now. Matthew. Look at me, rage. Feel all my wrath. This is my rage. Rage, 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 rage. Rage, 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 rage. Rage, 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 rage. You know what I'm like? I'm like the arrow guy in Avengers. Who's always, but instead of shooting arrows, they shoot wrongness accusations. And it's like, pew, 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 pew. And I hit all these people, and they're all like, I'm wrong, oh no, and they fall backwards. I wish I was an ENTP who morphed into some other type. That's dumb talk. That's not dumb talk, Zandy. I don't like to hear that, Zandy. You wish whatever you like. It's not dumb talk. I wish you were an ENTP who morphed into some other type too. Just because you want to, not because I want you to change it all. I think you're just perfect the way you are, Zandy. Don't you go changing. You can be that? Okay, go ahead. I want to be ISFJ. Okay, go ahead. I think it must be mostly genetic, because if it was mostly environmental, then people would have standardized it by now. So you can't be. Oh. Well, that's true. That is true. I think I cry a lot because I was frustrated with my parents. Ha ha ha. Why is Japan so depressing? What makes Japan like be this hotbed of sorrow? What's so horrible about it? Doesn't it seem like that's the case? That Japan's a hotbed of sorrow? Let me tell you, if you're going to be a hotbed of something, sorrow is really not a good choice. Be a hotbed of joy. So what happens if you don't conform? Yeah, it's ridiculous. It totally is. Why is it? It's terrible. They need me to go over there and kick some ass and take some names. Hey, you Japanese people. Fuck you and your expectations and your norms. You know what I'm saying? 100-hour work weeks. Why? ostracized from normal society. It's abnormal anyway. Over prioritizing happy makes everybody wish they were away. How can you achieve when the standard's no good without throwing away everything that you should not toss? You wanna talk about the definition of self-absorbed? Don't have to look very far. See what's for. Unable to perceive unless attended to the exclusion of anything other purpose. What a surprise! What a surprise! What a surprising feeling. It would seem to me that such a long work week guarantees inefficiency. Surely you could get more performance out of twice as many people each are working half as long. It would seem to me that that's a guaranteed inefficiency, having people work so much. What in the world would you possibly think about throwing your life away for a couple of bucks? Nobody should work too hard. Nobody should lose too much sleep. Nobody should avoid eating. Nobody should go out in the street. Nobody should roll away from things that make them feel okay. Everybody should have an opportunity to be something other than a cog in a machine. No matter how noble or virtuous the machine may be, intuitives know this struggle. Zandy agrees. Whether or not she meant that thing for me, I suppose it doesn't matter. See, in and out kitty. There's a kitty cat sitting by the door saying, let me out, and now rats are outside. I've gotta hunt them, gotta find them, gotta bring them in the house. I'm a business development manager at the medium size company. Life is much better than that. Then has a nice ring on her finger now. fun at work. We tire easily of the same old boring routine. Poorly motivated mostly by utility. It's sad. It's sad and difficult. Yeah, talking to Rachel makes me feel better. But, even earlier I was talking to Rachel about this stuff too. I'm feeling just, probably just need more sleep, I guess. Or, here's what I feel like mostly. And I just demonstrated. I think it's the best way to. I feel like that. That's what I feel like. In my emotions inside my heart. What's that emotion called? FI? Generic FI? You want me to demonstrate again? Like that. What's that emotion called? Somebody please help. Irina, we should be so lucky. We should be so lucky. Okay? That's not an emotion. Tantrum fussy babies are not an emotion. Frustration. So yeah, FI, right. Frustration. Irina, don't worry. Cloud's not going anywhere. He likes to do this periodically. I'll display Cloud. Eric. God damn it, he's ignoring me. Eric. I am leaving and never coming back. Goodbye. It's been real. It's been fun, but I'm out now. Never see me again. This is my imitation of Cloud. He is using that thing, that emotion I was just talking about. FI. Yeah, there you go. You don't gotta worry about it. FI is not very constant in that fashion. Well, as I was saying, I'm very slowly leaving, never to return again. I wish I could have gotten to know you better. Ham bone. I miss the sight of your bone and your ham. Chase me, dude. You're away with the emojis. Oh, it's so fun around here while it lasted, but adieu. No more point in being here. Eric's ignoring me. Goodbye, everybody. I'm dying now. Goodbye. Oh, a little bit of life left. Still a little bit of life left. Goodbye. Oh, my goodness. You know what else would irritate you, though, Andy? If somebody with your dominant function came in here and was continually, forcing awkwardness upon you, right? That would not fly very well with you either. You're trying to do your ENFJ thing. Let's say you were live streaming and you were like, I'm Zanji, I'm ENFJ, and we're all going to let go of our past now. We're going to let it go. We're going to just let it go. And then somebody comes in and is like, no, the past is the most important thing. What if I am wrong? Me? Wrong? About what? What would you like me to be wrong about? Irina Noxzinski. First of all, well, then maybe at that point, you could try to be interesting. In fact, you already are interesting. I like your styles, Andy. I'll be your enforcer on your channel, okay? You live stream, and I'll be in there going, you make me a mod, and I'll be like, boom, you're kicked, Just kick everybody. Just boom, boom, boom. You're like, hey, wait, Eric, wait. I'm trying to attract people to my live stream. Don't worry, I'm policing the fuck out of this thing, Andy. Nobody's allowed in here. Cloud, stay with me. Touch me. Rub me. Feel my bosom. Yeah, it's underneath my shirt. There you go. Give it a squeeze. Oh, you. Oh, you silly guys. Chase McDude says, sunshine. Oh. Of course you are, Countess. God damn it, Countess. Why? Why do you always do this? Do you not understand that it's not fun for anybody but you? Okay, thanks, Andy. I'll be like, no Andy hating around here. Everybody say only nice things. I like candy. Good. I like cookies. Good. I'm not sure about. You're out of here. Okay, everyone is counted until they prove otherwise. Might as well be. Jesus, Countess, seriously. I wouldn't be your supervisor if you were a broken ISTJ. I supervise ISTPs. Cloud's probably Countess. I think I might be Countess. Am I Countess? I think I am. Okay, guys, got some news. Big unveil here. I'm Countess. I've been Countess the whole time. It's amazing. Pull off my mask. And I'm Countess. Jesus, Countess, you are a busy one. You're Archangel. You're Irina. Ay. Who can be your son? How about Anchor Jason Blood could be your son instead? Or you want Matthew to be your son? I don't think you didn't like him. So I don't know. I was pretty surprised to discover that I was Countess the whole time. That's kind of big news around here. It's big drama. Oh, Countess. I agree with him. Okay, everyone is Countess until they prove otherwise, or have a blue. That's a good reason to make people blue once you determine they're legitimately not Countess. Are you sure Cloud's not Countess? Yeah, it did. Your and I didn't just fail you, Andy. It failed me, too. Desert INTJ, you cannot possibly be Countess. And you don't talk like Countess. Desert INTJ, you cannot be Countess. I'm Countess. I know what Countess is like, and you're no Countess, Desert INTJ. God. I doubt it, Anchor Jason Blood. I'm pretty sure he didn't. He's hanging out here to see what we talk about. Desert INTJ, stop confusing everybody. Ay. Turns out it's just me and Countess here the whole time. That would be quite an epic joke we're playing there, Countess. Oh, yeah. Your space cat, your rhino, your archangel, your Countess. Who else are you? Oh, introverted, whatever, maybe. Are any of us not Countess? Maybe talking with Finch was really the Countess hive mind. The Countess wars have begun. I wish I had another color to designate people besides just blue, They should have color the person's name, like other colors. I should suggest that to YouTube. Cloud is cloud. Okay. It was pretty amazing while I laughed at him, but for sure. It'll go down in GWFE history as another silly thing that happened. I see that's a good question, WITJ. Maybe Countess isn't even Countess. Maybe it's just the other ones who are Countess. But then who is Countess, Or Desert ITJ? Like, this is the sort of thing that it just makes me happy. It's like, what the hell? Oh, Jesus. This is a silly, fun life to lead here that we're having. It's silly and fun. It makes me happy. It makes my heart glow with glowworms. There are glowworms living on my heart. They're good glowworms. They're not boring into my heart. They're just sitting atop of it, glowing. You know what they're glowing with? I don't know if I really had any position on whether you're successful at it or not. I just I don't know. We're all just crackheads. It's a weird thing that we're doing, right? We do all day long. We all hang out here and just what are we doing? Exactly. Just hanging out, just chilling and smoking and chatting, I guess. Well, I mean, is that a life? Well, yeah, it is, for sure. We've all been indoctrinated by censors to think that there's something more important we're supposed to be doing. But on the other hand, sometimes there is something more important you're supposed to be doing, but sometimes the important thing you've got to be doing is something that's in your wheelhouse. Like, to some extent, this is satisfying environment for all of us because I think, like, for example, Countess seems to be somebody who's constantly using her own extroverted intuition. Third slot makes sense, satisfying. Old Nate McGraw. Are you Countess now too, old Nate McGraw? Wow. You need to fold all your washed clothes piles been sitting on your couch? Well, Zandy, that's the sort of task that I'm going to help you through right now. Okay, everybody? I want you all to join me in encouraging Zandy to do the following. Zandy, I want you to walk over to that couch right now. I want you to grab one of those pairs of pants or a skirt or something like that. I want you to fold it up. Just go walk right over there. Come on, Zandy. We're all cheering you on. Go get a piece of clothing. Fold it up. Put it where it goes. Then go, and then report back to us after you've done 1 or 2 pieces of clothing, okay? Go, Zandy, go. Go, Zandy, go. You can do it, Zandy. You can fold your clothes. Go, Zandy, go. Go, Zandy, go. You can do it, Zandy. You can fold your clothes. That's the chant that I want you to sing to yourself as you're doing it. It doesn't require you that much strength, Zandy. You just go fold. You just go fold yourself. Are you sure you're not an INFJ, Zandy? You might be an INFJ. It sounds more like. Well, I mean, it does sound like 7th slot SI though. Ham bone. A little bit of introverted Samson, a little bit of extroverted Pooh, a little bit of introverted Samson makes you not want to do the thing you gotta do. A little bit of introverted Samson feels like something soft, something squishy, something round, and something full of puff. Ah, Hambone, wise words. Hambone points out, Zandy, if you don't fold those clothes, you'll experience shame and anxiety for your prolonged failure. Wise words, Hambone. Wise words indeed. You wouldn't want to experience shame and anxiety, would you, Sandy? Yeah. Right now, we're all panicked that you're going to incur shame. You're going to shame our family with your failure. Don't shame talking with famous people with your failure, okay, Zandy? I know the terror, the anxiety. It's tearing at you. Just let it go. Just let it go and listen to us and obey. Obey my voice, Sandy. You get over there and you fold those clothes right now, young lady. Right now. Been counting from the start, my brother. You've been counting what from the start? What you been counting? What you been counting? You mean you been countess? Oh. I'm not sure you are Countess Old McGrath because, I'll tell you what, Countess's alternate identities usually have a icon, and I don't think she referred to me as my brother. It's very macho, man, Randy Savage of you. It's not that you will fail, but you are failing right now. It's the only failure you can really experience is the failure to fear failure enough to start doing the thing that you're failing to do. A pant is just a benign pant. It does not have any power over you. Pants. Right. A pants is just a benign pants. It does not have any power over you. Hambone, why are you saying the right words? Because he's wise, Sandy. He's wise in the ways of things. Okay. I still stand by I don't think Countess will call me my brother. Because very macho man Randy Savage. Hambone's wizardry is powerful. He brings the wizardry of both the ham and the bone. And everybody knows that the most powerful wizardry of all is cast by the bone. Bone. Who wants to touch my bone? Sorry, you can't. My bone is private. It's not for you. I need to call my college. They want to touch my bone. I need to tell them no. What do you need to tell your college, Hambone? Are you going to ask them to touch your bone? No. Are you going to ask them if they're going to require you to do a collage? Come on, Zandy, get your clothes folded. Don't make me come over there and scold you in person. Zandy. You're all sleeping like it's like 3 in the morning. Zandy, I drove up to Fresno, found your house. It's me, host Eric. You're not titted? Tired. Yeah, you might as well. You're not tired, right? Fluff degree. Got a degree in fluffing. Have trouble finding work anyway. I say I have an associate's degree in fluffing. I'd like to work on your pornography film, please. And I'd like to be a fluffer for the females, please. And I say, we don't have fluffers for the females. And I said, why not? That's sexist. I'm gonna promote a class action lawsuit in which all the female pornography actresses sue for failure to receive fluffage. They're not being fair and passing out benefits equally. What else are you going to major in besides fluffage? Or are you actually just the kind who goes to fluff? There isn't a market for human pillow fluffing. I mean, you might have gotten your degree in regular pillow fluffing, like it's a sub degree of the hospitality industry. Yeah, I got a hospitality degree. Well, not a full hospitality. I specialize in pillow fluffing. Macho Man was just Candace's original channel. Well, maybe. You're not in college anymore. Fuck that noise, huh? Now you're in the College of Hard Knocks. Called Eric's live stream. Pretty important stuff we're covering here. All I know is that I am a macho man, but I may not be Randy Savage. That's one of the great mysteries of time. All right, time for me to go to bed, everybody. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese. Thanks for being here. I gotta sleeps.